Our next guest started writing in high school using poetry as an escape mechanism. Now, she's a published author, and her first book is out. It's entitled Married to a Stranger. To tell us about her personal journey and becoming published, we welcome Anae Manning. Good morning, Anae.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you so much for joining us this morning. So the first thing I'm going to ask you, which high school did you attend?
I went to Mona High School.
That's right, there in St. Andrew. And the use of poetry as an escape mechanism. You know, when I see that in your bio, I'm going to ask you, what were you escaping from? And if that was the route, what would your advice be to other young persons who feel that they need to have an experience other than what they are presently in?
All right, what I was escaping from would probably be the typical thing, depression, life in itself, in being a wheelchair and just being confined. So that was basically what I was escaping from. And my advice to other young persons out there would probably be the same thing. If they need a route to escape instead of the drinking, instead of the crime and the violence, stuff like that, right. It might seem difficult, but just put your thoughts and your feelings on the paper.
Yes.
And just pour yourself out that way in case you don't have anybody personally to sit and talk to.
So based on what you've said, we know, all of us know that you are a person with a disability. What led to that disability? Was it through an injury or was it health related?
Well, it's health related. I was diagnosed with a rheumatoid arthritis at the age of 7.
7 years old.
So it just progressed after a while.
Wow. Now, the title of your book conjures up a lot of ideas as to what could have led to such a title. Take us right to that point as to the Married to a Stranger that you have written.
I think most of us have watched movies where persons are living with the people that they think they know, or even in life situations, real life situations. So me writing it, I just wanted something that can kind of relate to. So that's why I came up with that title.
All right, and what exactly, give us some of the details. What is the book about? What can your readers expect when they take that journey with you?
All right, so it's not basically full on a romantic book, because most persons are used to that, a romantic novel. There are a few scenes like that in it, but it's pretty much about a young lady finding out that the man she's married to it's not even somebody that she knows. It's a total stranger, but from her perspective on what she went through, she had trusted this person and believed everything that he said, thinking that he was actually her husband.
Right. Now, do you find that that's maybe even not in terms of the specifics, but do you find that that's a relatable story for a lot of young women in particular?
I believe so, because we've had cases where people get married and, the person that they're married to created a facade, they think they could trust them, stuff like that. And then it's after marriage, they realize that the veil came down and this is not the person they thought they were. So it ended up being a complete stranger, because this is not who they portray themselves to be at the beginning.
I saw what you just did there with that metaphor, when the veil comes down, because the interesting thing is that in a marriage, after the vows are exchanged, the veil is lifted up, but you have spun that around on its head, and I guess for the husband, the veil comes down for the wife afterwards. Now, when you said, I think, go back to the point, you said that you started your poetry in high school as an escape. Something tells me that even before that, you seem to have a knack for creating narratives and telling stories. At what point did you first recognize that trait in you, and how would you advise other persons, in addition to what you said earlier, to foster that kind of discipline, which I am sure is required to complete a novel such as this?
To be honest with you, it was persons around me, like friends that saw that I could do that, because I personally was not paying attention that this is something that I could build on per se. So I can't really give a direct timeline or situation or stuff like that. But one other thing is I'm an only child. So there was no relatives or no bigger sisters or bigger brothers or anything like that that I could play with or communicate with. So I had to create my own scenarios in my head. For other persons, like the same thing that I had said earlier, just try. It is really hard because, as I said, the journey into writing it, I tend to get depressed easily, and because of that, the writer's block was so easy to slip right into, and it was really hard coming out of that itself. So I know that a lot of persons might think it's just easy to take up a pen and paper and just write like that. Sometimes it's not, because there are times when you might not just find the right words that you want to express yourself with, but it's there. Even to just start with the first word that pops up in your head and just build around that, and it will create something that you would be surprised at the end of the day.
Right.
So
Now,
that would be my advice.
when you were writing this book and when it got published, describe for me the typical reader that you believe that this book will resonate with.
All right, the typical readers would probably be persons who love reading, because I know that a lot of persons don't like. But for persons who love reading, loves novels, love a little mystery, love a little romance, this is for you. And probably persons who want to go into reading but don't want something too hot and spicy to just jump out at them. You know, this is it.
And Ashley, where is the book available?
This book is definitely their first option.
It's definitely there for them. Where is it available?
It is available on Amazon. So it's available in 2 versions, the Kindle version, and you can order a hard copy as well.
All right. And
so it's up on Amazon.
I always ask publishers or authors when we have them on, this is your first book, but it's not your last book. What would be, if you were in the process of writing your next book, as you speak out to your base that's developing following this one, what is that tidbit that you can give them in terms of what they can expect from your next book?
Well, my next book is definitely in progress because I started it. That book, though, is not going to be like this book, like my current book right now, because I'm a supernatural person where I love those kind of fantasy when it comes down to vampires, werewolves, stuff like that. So this book, my second book, will definitely have a mixture of that. So if you love that realm, then my second book will definitely have that into it.
The second book is for me. By the way, where can we get to find out more about your journey and access your brilliant work on social media?
Well, I am on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Ashara _Anae. So that's ASHARA_ANAE. So you can just send me a DM there and I'll respond, because I always respond to my DMs.
All right, and I'm signing up from now to do the live reading of your next book about the vampires from Craighead in Jamaica when it's out. All right, Ashley?
Sure.
Thank you very much for joining us. Have an awesome day.
Thank you.
Please stay with us. Sunrise continues right after these messages.